Highway Department, I have Highway Superintendent Bob Kerfien's report for June. 19 days mowing roadsides, 10 days hand patching, 6 days replacing signs that were knocked down, 10 days cutting shoulders and ditches, 12 days putting in driveways, 3 days mowing cemeteries, 3 days breaking up beaver dams. The payroll for June was $18,917, and total bills for June were $11,957. That ends Bob Kerfien's report. Recreation, Randy?
Well, we got kind of a lengthy one this time. This last 2 weeks, we signed up 61 new children with new ID cards. In June 29th, we had the kids bingo here at the town hall. We had 47 children show up. On the 7th, went to Thunder Island, and we had over 70 children went on that outing. It was a tough day with the heat, but they seemed to all enjoy themselves. Upcoming, we have the lake cruise on Onondaga Lake off the Seneca River. That's on the 16th. We still have 38 openings on that. The boat only holds 105, and that's where I have to draw the line. They won't put any more on, so there's only 38 openings left on that there. On July 22nd, we're going to have kids bingo, depending on temperature. If we still have the same type of temperature we've got now, it's canceled. There's no way we can put 50 or 60 kids in this room and have them in here for a couple hours. It's just too tough on the kids. August 3rd, we got the Chiefs game. We got 58 openings left on that. Cap happening is going to be at the Volney School, August 2nd through the 6th. Again, ages 5 through 14, and the county provides lunch. That's from 9 to 3 on that. Fulton Raceway has come through again for us this year. Children and their families with ID cards, the whole family's been invited. They have to pre-register with me, but there is no limit. It's unbelievable. They do this the second year for us. They're more than happy to. And this year, they're going to rope off a section for us. So you have to pre-register for that one, but it is free for the family as long as the kids are registered through my program. We're trying something new this year. It's called Mud Mania. I'll just give you a brief thing. Mud Mania was in National Geographic magazine recently, and it's been in effect since late 70s. Mud Mania is a obstacle course of mud. It's the main one is held out in Scottsdale, Arizona. This last year they had 2,000 children show up for a one-day event. Basically, it's an obstacle course where kids run through, around, over mud. It's topsoil. It's not sand. It's not abrasive. I have a whole pack of literature here and the obstacles. I've got a videotape coming that ABC put together. I think it's going to be a great thing for the kids. I'm hoping that it won't impede our working on the park, but that's the only place I can think to use. I've got a lot more checking to do into it, but as far as the response I've got from the kids right now, we're going to have a whole bunch of motor getting muddy. So for a warm summer, this might be a great thing, but we're going to be working on that. If anybody wants to get involved, get with me, or our next recreation meeting's on the 4th of August here at the Town Hall at 7 o'clock, if anybody wants to get involved in that. 22nd of August, Swan Valley, the game farm over here on Honey Hill Road. Kids are free, adults are $250. You don't even need to see me or anything. On that date, they're open from 1 to 5. You just show up with your children. They show their ID card, sign on a dotted line. The town pays for them, the adults pay for themselves. It takes about an hour to go through, hour and a half if you're a little slow. It's nice. We went over and walked through it. It's really, for a local park, it's really nice. We have the weekly arts and crafts here at the town hall. We had one yesterday. They go through August 11th. Every Wednesday from 3 to 4:30 here at the town hall. You don't have to bring anything. Just drop your children off, come back in an hour and a half and get them. They were done early yesterday. We tried playing kickball outside where they've done some work down here in the culvert. The ball kept going in there. So I don't know how we can is there some way we can put a fence up down there so that we can keep the kids out of that water? I'm gonna try to run this, because what happens is, when they do this thing and they get done early, I've gotta have something to do before the parents get back. The building was so hot, they couldn't stay in here. I put them outside for kickball. If we went down there too far, the parking lot's down there. It's too rough over on the other side where the grass is so high. And this is the only good spot, and now where they've done a little work down here, there's a water ditch. If you could talk to Bob, maybe have him put a small fence up or something. Whatever you can do, I'd appreciate it, because I'm gonna have to do something with them every Wednesday out here when they get done with their arts and crafts. The older kids get done faster than the younger ones. So if you could just ask him to, a short fence or something, I'd really appreciate it. That's put on by the Oswego County Youth Bureau. And then basic archery is going to start August 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd, from 6 to 6:45. Everything's provided by the town. We already have the bows, arrows, and the courses set up. Only thing that we need is bodies. We're going to separate them in two groups, the ones that shot last year and the new ones that are coming in this year, so we kind of divide them up a little bit. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Randy.
Well, on recreation, Mr. Supervisor, can I make a few comments, please? First of all, the plans that Mr. Kotz presented tonight, I have no problem with. I thought they're very nice plans, but personally, it doesn't appear to be much more than rearranging the furniture from our original plans. In a newspaper article a few weeks ago, Mr. McFarland, you stated that your goal in hiring him was to scale down my plans, but it appears that you've actually provided more things in it, particularly the archery, which wasn't included in my plans originally, but it has included everything else that I did have. It's just rearranged them differently is all, which is fine. So the goal, I guess, wasn't achieved then if we were trying to scale it down some. But I do take exception to some of the comments you made, and I don't know if you did it out of ignorance or you're just trying to get at me in my park again. But first of all, you stated it was overly ambitious and ill-flawed, yet it's not much different than what we saw here tonight. You said I was trying to cram too many things into it, and now we have more than I had. You accused me of overlapping a fitness trail with a softball diamond, but my plans are right here in front of me, and I see nowhere where that crosses a softball diamond. You said my ball playing area was too small, yet it's the same exact size as what Mr. Kotz showed us tonight, 275 feet. You also said that my amphitheater was in the middle of Bell Creek, which, first of all, it was just a proposed area, and it doesn't actually fall in the middle of Bell Creek, although it is very near it. You said that we hadn't surveyed the land, but Mr. Raleigh can show you a survey that we hired done. Also, we not only did a survey, but we did a topographic map to make sure that we knew what the terrain was like and how we were going to handle that. You said that nothing could be built there because it was a wetland, and we had the DEC there that told us different when they were inspecting the soil when we thought there was a problem with the soil contamination. I don't like you using words like flawed work and helter-skelter manner. I think it's an insult to me and the people who worked very hard to get those plans put together. And I don't know your purpose for doing that other than political reasons, and I'm so sorry that you had that attitude and we've had to go this far, 2 years, before we finally got someone here to proceed with this project. I guess that's all I have to say.
When did that article appear?
This was in the paper about 2 weeks ago in the Palladium Times. It says volley factions clashing over recreation park plans, and it was mostly all comments by yourself concerning Mr. Kotz's plans and my plans.
Duly noted, Howard. Any other committee reports? Old business.
Mr. Supervisor, how would we make out with a contractor on the roof?
The contractor on the roof has said that they will replace all shingles in a workmanlike manner at no charge to the town. I had expected that it would have been done by this point in time. I was assured it was. I would guess probably because of the weather they...
Well, the thing of it is, this is the type of year that if you put a roof on, it'll seal it. The thing of it is, if we're not getting a response from them...
We have received a response.
he has an insurance company that's holding the bond, we can surely get a hold of them.
Yes, but they have indicated that they will replace all the shingles at their expense. It's supposed to have been done this week, yes. Any other old business?
Yes, I have just a couple of things, Mr. Supervisor. First of all, I see there was a letter in my box tonight from the County of Oswego concerning my request for a meeting with them, although it doesn't address my request for a meeting, it only addresses a report on the status of the landfill briefly and who's involved in remediating it and so on. I still think that we need a meeting with them rather than just a report, because the report doesn't really answer a lot of questions that I have and a lot of other people may have on this issue. And I hope that eventually we can get someone here, if not our legislator, Bill Buck, somebody from the county to discuss that with us. Also, I carbon copied you a letter, as well as the town clerk, that I sent to Bill Buck, who is also our deputy town supervisor that you appointed, and requesting his presence here at a meeting. I'll just read it, it's brief. Recent newspaper articles have reported the news of the proposed county water districts and the upcoming public referendum that the voters will voice their opinion on this August 10th. In an effort to educate and inform the public as to the pros and cons of this proposal and the possible ramifications, I respectfully request your presence at a public meeting of the Volney Town Board and its citizens at your earliest convenience. While numerous other legislators are meeting with their respective towns to discuss this matter before the vote in August, I think it is imperative that we as representatives offer the same informational benefit to our community. The ideal time to meet would be our monthly board meetings, which we have two scheduled before the vote. If neither the July 8th or August 12th meeting dates are inconvenient for you, I'm sure we can agree to another date in between somewhere. Please advise me as to your availability and willingness to attend so that we can schedule this meeting as soon as possible. I made one mistake in saying that we had two meetings. We only had this one, and I'm sure Mr. Buck knew that when he received my letter, because the date for this referendum is August 10th, so it'll be after or before our next town board meeting. I have not heard from Mr. Buck. I don't know if you received any correspondence from him, but unfortunately he's not here tonight, so obviously we're not going to be addressing that issue with our legislator. But I would like to make a few comments about it myself. I know that Claudia has spoken in favor of this district, and maybe you may want to make a few comments. But my main concerns are the way they're going about this referendum August 10th, which to me seems like an inopportune time for most people to get out and vote. They're on vacation, they're involved in a lot of summer activities, and it's not very convenient to go out and vote on Tuesday, August 10th. There was no reason why it couldn't have been delayed, I don't think, until September when they have the primaries where more people will be available to vote. The kids are in school, the parents are home, and it would make more sense to me to do that. Also, it would save the expense of this community's tax dollars to have another election, which we have to pay for. We have to hire inspectors and so on to do that. So I think that was a mistake by the legislators. Of course, I understand why they did that. They probably want us to forget about it and not go, and maybe it'll just slip through without our even knowing about it. But right now, I don't think very many of you know much about it. I don't know a whole lot about it myself, just what I've read, pro and con, from different factions. But in any case, this is a very important issue that I think we all should be aware of and know everything there is to know about it, because we're all going to be paying for it. And very few of us are going to benefit from it. And you should realize what this is all about. So it's very unfortunate that Mr. Buck isn't here tonight. Claudia, do you have anything to say in support of this?
Bill called me today. The reason why he's not here tonight is he had another meeting that was running over. He tried to call other people that were on the water board so one of them could come in place of him to explain his position. Unfortunately, since it's so hot, everybody decided to go on vacation and nobody was available. So he did have some brochures dropped off so people would have information on the water district. I can't second guess the legislature about why they want to hold the election in August. You know, that's open to opinion, but they have said that part of the reason why they wanted to do it was that there were projects such as the water line for Scythe that they, if this went through, that they would be putting in a bigger water line than what Scythe would be putting in otherwise, and they didn't want to miss the window of opportunity to put the bigger water line in at a cheaper price than what it would be to put in the same water line that ran by itself to carry that amount of capacity and ran it separately. It's the cost to go from one size pipe to a bigger pipe, but then you're putting it down the same way is much cheaper than running them twice.
Right.
So there'd be more cost. If there's any other reasons than that, you know, I'm not a member of the legislature.
My understanding is
I'm
that
concerned, every day when you read the paper, there are people who are getting laid off. There are a lot of people, we have a business, and people come in and they're worried because they don't know what they're going to do because their unemployment is running out and they haven't been able to find something else. You and Mr. Pierce have taken the attitude that I'm too optimistic about this generating jobs. Well, something's got to happen because the unemployment in Oswego County is sky high. And I'm hoping that this type of development will do something for the jobs of the people in this county. Whether or not the proposed $6 a year per household that this may cost could have been done a different way. I'm not proficient enough in water lines to let you know that, but I am concerned about families having no money and needing jobs.
I'm equally concerned with that, Claudia, but you know as well as I do that that tax dollar is going to be paid by the people that don't have jobs right now as well. So it's going to be an added burden to those people, and there's no guarantee they're going to get a job. The other thing, too, when you have water, what follows is sewage, and they haven't even addressed that. So you may say $6 per family now, which I don't believe anyway, but in the near future, when the sewage is needed for this project, then we're going to see a lot higher rate because the sewage is much more than water. So that's another concern that hasn't been addressed, and it's unfortunate. We really don't know all the details of this. All we know is what we read in the paper and what we hear from other people here and there.
They have already stated, I went to the meeting that they had put on by the Fulton Chamber of Commerce, and they already stated at that meeting that the way the sewage would be addressed is not as one large district, the way they're doing the water, that it would be done regionally as needs require, as in the one over in Central Square, where recently the system collapsed and the municipality did not have the money required to improve it, so they, in exchange for getting the repairs made, the county is taking over the system and expanding it and making it available to other people on the boundaries of the existing district that need the sewer, so it is only being paid for by people who are using it.
Okay, but the bottom line is, if this is as important as they say it is, you'd think there'd be someone here explaining it to us so we could go and be informed and knowledgeable about the vote that we're going to be casting August 10th. And I honestly cannot understand why we cannot get our legislator to a meeting to address those issues with us. I'm sorry, I don't mean to just be going after Mr. Buck, but he is opening the door for that by not attending these meetings. And I think he should be here to explain this to his constituents who show up at these meetings. He has a forum on TV where he can express these ideas to them. He's not doing that. That makes him suspect, that makes the county suspect. And that's why I do not approve of this, and I will not vote for it and support it. Just wanted to say that. That's all
I think both what it will do for jobs and what it will do for the tax base. Anyone who is familiar with the problems, as the supervisor read tonight, with Niagara Mohawk, and they pay 64% of the county tax, and the state believes that the towns and cities are over-assessing Niagara Mohawk anyways, and the Niagara Mohawk is saying that even the state's method of figuring their assessment is too high. And when someone is paying that much of the bills, and their share could dramatically drop, you need someone else there to take up the slack. And that's the other part of the equation. I mean, you might pay $6, but it'll make it so you'll pay hundreds less because there'll be other things added to the tax base that will make it so that the residential properties don't have to pick up such a terrible burden when Niagara Mohawk gets their assessment lowered.
Well, I hope that's all true, but we won't know because the vote will be over with before any of this happens or anything is realized.
I would like to point out, Howard, that below me on the table is a brochure, How the Proposed Water District in Oswego County Could Affect You, Your Family, and Your Future. There are the audience or anybody is welcome to take one of those home. If we run out, we can always get some more. But I think it's very important before you make up your mind as to the value of this particular water district that you read this brochure.
That's from the county perspective, I believe.
So, yes, it would be. Any other old business? Hearing none, let's move on to public comment on resolutions and resolutions only, please. Is there any public comment on any of these resolutions? Yep. The next resolution to be considered is 93-109, whereas David C. O'Brien has submitted his resignation as Deputy Code Enforcement Officer for the town effective July 31, 1993. Therefore, move that the town clerk be authorized to immediately advertise for this position. Resumes and/or letters of background and qualifications should be received in the town clerk's office by 4 p.m. August 10, 1993, and be opened that evening at the 7 p.m. Town Board Agenda Preparation Meeting. I will move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Florence, will you poll the council?
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rose.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. The next resolution, number 110, whereas Linda Howard has submitted her resignation as assessor for the town effective July 31, 1993, therefore move that the town clerk be authorized to immediately advertise for this position. Resumes and/or letters of background qualifications should be received in the town clerk's office by 4 p.m. August 10, 1993, and to be open that evening at the 7 p.m. Town Board Agenda Preparation Meeting. I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Florence, poll the council.
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rose.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. The next resolution, number 111, whereas a vacancy was created by the resignation of William Crumpton as town constable effective May 31, 1993, and whereas an advertisement soliciting applications for this position was duly placed, therefore move that the applicant, Charles D. Marks, be appointed as the constable for the town of Volney effective immediately. I will move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Florence, will you poll the council?
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rose.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Rose.
Councilman Warner.
Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. The last resolution, number 112, whereas the City of New York operates a facility for homeless people in the town of Chester, New York, and whereas the towns of Chester and Blooming Grove have and are experiencing difficulties with individuals who reside at that facility causing public safety and health concerns, and whereas the towns of Chester and Blooming Grove have ascertained to their satisfaction that a certain number of the residents of the facility are the subject of outstanding criminal warrants, and whereas no screening of criminal records for outstanding warrants, etc., is performed by the City of New York prior to placing the residents at this facility, and whereas the towns of Chester and Blooming Grove have requested the help of other municipalities in the state to help ensure passage of legislation designed to require criminal record checks prior to admission to this non-secure residential facility, Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Volney supports the towns of Chester and Blooming Grove in their desire to have the above bills enacted into law. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the state senator and state assemblyman representing the town of Volney with our request to support said bills. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the town supervisor of the town of Chester. I will move it.
Second it.
Any discussion? Florence, will you poll the council?
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rhodes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. Any other new business? Petitions. Any petitions to be brought before the town board? Public comment. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Culver, I'd like to thank the board for passing the moratorium. More importantly, I'd like to thank the people of this community who, whether they represent the majority or not, have worked very, very hard to influence this board, and not just for their own good, but for the good of the whole town of Volney. We hope that when you're writing the zoning, that when you are working on the zoning update, that you will consult with the community and try to find out what the consensus of the community is concerning zoning on towers. What the citizens of Volney really want in their zoning. Because the zoning is written to protect all of us, and it would be really, it behooves the board to have the input of the public when they write laws for us. The other issue, I would like to make a comment about the county water district. A member of the county planning board has given me the report on the county water district, and it's a pretty in-depth report. And I wouldn't say that I understand it in its entirety, but I believe Mr. Rose has a good point when he says that it's too bad we can't get someone here to explain it better to us, because it is a very complicated issue. We obviously all care very much about jobs in our community. We know that jobs are needed, and we don't, it's difficult to know which projects will help bring jobs to an area and which projects won't. Right now, Scythe Energies obviously would benefit from this pipeline, and they have told us that they will bring a lot of jobs to our community, and they will for construction purposes. Unfortunately, their facility will only employ 50 or 60 full-time employees, and they will be generating electricity at a time when Niagara Mohawk is closing down facilities because there is an overabundance of electricity in our area. Not only that, but Scythe Energies is a French corporation. It is not an American company. So that's something to think about. They also have been excused from paying taxes in Oswego County for 20 years. I'm not totally opposed to a water district for the county, but I'm not really sure that the citizens of Oswego are going to benefit by this. The $6 a year, as I read it in the proposal, is for the first section of this district. I'm not sure what will happen later. I'm not sure anyone is. I can't honestly say I'm opposed to the water district or in favor of it, but I really do believe that we need to find out as much as we can about it before we make a decision. And I hope that the people of Volney and all of Oswego County will do their best to become well informed about the issue and will vote on it, because it will affect all of us.
I also read the water district proposal in entirety. Scythe Energy is building the pipeline. The pipeline is not part of the county water district. What's part of the county water district is to put a larger pipe in its place. Scythe will pay for and build their portion regardless. It has nothing to do with whether or not the county has a water district. Also, Scythe will be taxed, as well as the other parts, on the water district. This is a special revenue tax.
I'd also like to remind people that if they're not going to be around on August 10th, or if it's an inconvenience for them to get to their polling place, that they can call the Board of Elections and get an absentee ballot on this.
Good point. Yes.
I just have a question. I was reading this brochure here, and it talks about the water district, but it does not state in here if this water district is going to be used, allowed for residential use. Is that true, or isn't it? Or is it just for industry at this time? Could somebody explain that, Claudia, or does no one have an answer?
What they're doing is putting the main trunk lines through, and it's set up in such a way that as needs require, and individual districts want to be formed, that they can send spurs off of them for residential or other commercial use.
Is that going to be available immediately as soon as these trunks are put in, if someone needs a water district, they're going to be able to hook into that? The
Yes.
information I read said that it's not going to be available for residential use for maybe up to 20 years. Is that true or not true?
From the explanation we got when we went to the chamber, it sounded like it was going to be available immediately. I mean, they've got a,
The first phase would be available where it's available, but the 3 phases won't be available throughout Volney, or throughout.
Because this brochure does
Oswego
not say anything about
County
residential use. It says this is to bring industry in, and pipelines are for industry. And I have to agree with Howard. I feel very sad that we don't have any representation from the county either. I'm sorry that it's too hot that they can't attend our meetings, but we all sit here and suffer. I think we should at least have Mr. Buck here. And he is also our deputy supervisor, as Howard has stated. If he doesn't want to come as our legislator, I think he would come on that issue. I've had a lot of people call me and ask questions. I told them I couldn't answer a lot of it because I didn't have a lot of information, only what I've read and what I've received, and I've received pros and cons as well. But what I have heard, and that's what people are asking me, if this goes in, are they going to be able to use it as residential use? I've had people tell me no, that this is primarily to bring industry in, as you have stated, and you say that that's going to bring jobs, and I don't know if that's really an argument, Claudia, because there's people that have water and sewer right now that are leaving the county. So in order for them to be bringing more in, I don't know how that's a legitimate argument. And I can remember 15 years ago when this landfill went in, we were told by the county administrators at that time, you have to understand, we're going to build a landfill, an incinerator, and we're going to allow free dumping. And that's going to bring industry in, because right now they have to pay in Onondaga County to dump their trash. But if we build a landfill here where they can dump for free, it's going to bring all types of industry in. That hasn't happened. So I think this is just another smokescreen that we really ought to look into.
Charlie, I would like to point out that all of our problems just a few short months ago centered around availability of water and sewer, whether or not Kmart stayed in Volney or became part of Fulton. I think it's ludicrous to say that the availability of water and sewage is not important to attract new industry and commercial development.
Well, let me also
And
remind you, your
obviously-
wife pointed out that we have an agreement with the Metropolitan Water Line for 700,000 gallons of water a day with a pipeline right to the...
650.
All right, so why can't we just, start bringing that?
Obviously we have that. This is for the entire county. This is so that industry will locate here. Look at the towns of DeWitt. Look at Clay. Look how the development has occurred since the water districts were put in.
Yeah.
That could not happen without
And
that.
they've also had an overdevelopment and had to stop. And if you also
Now, wait a
look at
minute.
the county,
Wait a
what is
minute,
our number
Marie.
one industry?
Wait a minute.
Farming.
Wait a minute.
How are farmers going to pay for water?
Excuse me, you said it before.
Excuse me, Dave. I thought I had the floor, but go ahead.
No, I
Okay, go ahead.
You were done.
Go ahead.
I don't mind talking to you.
Go ahead.
Overdeveloped. That's obviously a question of zoning, isn't it? What are we doing? We're putting a moratorium on towers so that we can consider their impact on the town. And we're trying to rewrite our zoning laws so that we can determine where the best places for industry to develop, commercials to develop, residential areas. We're working on that now. The problem with overdevelopment comes from improper zoning. I don't personally like zoning a whole lot, but it's a necessary evil. It's necessary in the terms of where towers are put in our town. It's necessary which areas are industrial, where shopping plazas should go in, where industry should go in. Yes, zoning is required. Without proper zoning, you can have overdevelopment. Without water and sewage, you have no development. Without development, our taxes are definitely going to rise. Definitely. There's no question about it at all. Niagara Mohawk is over-assessed, so are all the other major industries in the state. When they are corrected, that burden will shift to the residentials. The only way to protect the residentials is to have more industrials and more commercials developed. We're in a logical place for it. We're along the corridor. It's beneficial to us. It's beneficial to the industry.
I ain't got too much more to offer, but Clay and DeWitt, their main development is office professional parks, not manufacturing jobs that bring the good-paying jobs into the community. Water, sewage, people love it for an excuse to get pet projects in. We got the Swiggle River, Sewer Lake used to be a major water, paper producing plant. They have empty buildings, that could be developed. Swiggle City's got Fitzgibbons, that's industrial park. They can't bring industry in, they got water there. Water and sewage can drive industry out. The thing from it, the biggest thing of your businesses is your taxes and your fees that the government is charging. It's you running. You people keep talking about blaming, first you blaming millers because they got you scared on cutting their assessment. Now you're crying, delaying the reval figures out because it's Niagara Mohawk. But I never see no community leaders going to file a class action suit or something. If we're giving up all these assessments and going to court, how come the rates aren't going down? How come you're not going against the PSC to say, hey, you got your assessment lower, shorten the people's bills. Let's lower the rates. You know, instead of finding reasons to raise taxes. It's interesting with Mr. Buck. I'd give up coming here for him to come here. I think he gives everybody an open invitation, which he's got a better employer than I have, because I can't invite people to my place of appointment to talk to me. He invites everybody to go over to Tops, where he works as a pharmacist. And we all ought to get together some night and go talk to him. You know? I mean, it's, I can't do that where I work. It's a lot of things, and another thing, I think, I don't know, I believe Mr. McFarland, in respect of my upbringing and trying to respect my elders, you and I are, I guess, are orphans. By these things in the paper, you've been banned an orphan because the conservatives wouldn't endorse you, and they thought you were an orphan, and they didn't have a primary vote. How about the Republicans? They endorsed these two same people before a primary. Was it the kettle corn and the pot black or something? You're thinking here, I'm one of these guilty ones. I've been coming to these meetings since 1974. I talked to a lot of people, not only here, but out of the county and in my business, and people are fed up with the government. It does no good. A lot of people come for one issue thing what they can help get. One year might be one place, another year might be another division. But people can't afford to work two jobs and come to meetings and take care of it, bring up a family, and say that people that just come to these meetings are just, I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know if you're trying to say we're a bunch of deadheads or what. I don't know. But you know, I try to get involved and try to keep involved, but I'm also a taxpayer, and I don't know when we're going to get mad enough to say to you people that we've had enough of the arrogance and disregard for us. We're the ones that are paying the bills. Same way with that water thing, we're going to be ending up paying the bills. 2 months ago when Miss LaSalle was here, I asked her about seeing the new reval figures, and she said that it was up to you and she should know in 2 weeks. Now it's been a month and a half. The last month meeting you said that it was up to her, but she in turn, when I talked to her, puts the blame back on you. The supervisor's the only one that can say when it's okay to show us them figures. I've even offered to take time off from my work in Syracuse to go over to her office and look at them. She says, I can't until you give the permission. What's the story? You know, we're just people. Thank you.
We don't represent the majority of them.
Please.
I would like to know how Claudia got to go to this meeting. How did you get to go, Claudia?
I'm a member of the Fulton Chamber of Commerce, and they sent me their monthly newsletter.
And you
It was in
didn't
the
choose to
newspaper.
talk about it before tonight. If Howard didn't bring up what he brought up, you wouldn't have told us the knowledge that you got on this?
I
Going to
talked
this
about it
meeting?
last month.
Oh, after the vote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Charlie?
I do want to take exception with the types of development in Clay. You say it's mostly in... I'm sorry, I'm taking issue with the types of development in Clay. I mean, in Clay, they have Great Northern Mall, they have Chase Pickens, they have Walmart, they have Wegmans, Sam's Club. Those are not...
High-paying jobs.
Wait a minute. We are talking about two separate issues. First of all, wait, please. Wait a minute. First of all, it takes people to build them, to answer that. People working in them, it provides jobs for people. Not all jobs, unfortunately, can pay $12, $15, $20 an hour. People need work. Beyond that, I was not speaking of that. I was speaking of the tax base. One Kmart Plaza, let's go in there, in our town, pays as much property tax as 750 average homes. We're talking about tax base to offset our loss of revenues when other taxable properties are reduced. New properties have to be there in order to take up that slack. Those properties are very lucrative property, very highly taxed property. They do provide a great deal of money for the town of Clay.
I just want to comment on one last thing that Charlie commented on before we go on, if we could, before it gets past it here. You were saying how you're hoping that this industry is going to offset the tax base for the rest of us who are going to be burdened by higher taxes because of that shift. Well, how do you explain it then when the IDA is sitting in the wings waiting to give them a tax-exempt pilot program like they did site? And that money that they're paying, that is the pilot program money, does not go into the general fund to reduce taxes, Charlie. That goes to the IDA revolving fund to get more businesses low-interest loans and keep it going, which does not do anything for the taxpayers.
Miller Brewing came in on a pilot program. They paid.
No, they did not.
They had a program.
No, they did not.
Yes. They did.
No, they did not.
They said they did. They said they did.
Huh?
They said they
had one
did.
to the county.
They
Well,
got
I
it from the
never
county.
did when I was
I don't care
assessor.
if the town gave them one. They
If
said
the county gives
did.
it to them, the school district gotta give it to them,
Okay.
and the town goes along with the county
Excuse
and the
me,
school
they
district.
said they got a pilot program,
Owens, Illinois had a pilot program for 15 years,
okay?
and they still got one.
Are they paying? Now, the pilot program also is a sliding scale. It starts at one level, and it continues to go down. They are paying property taxes. And Miller Brewing, if they didn't have the pilot program, fine, they're still paying half of the taxes in the
That's
town.
right.
And if they had a pilot program, they still would be.
See, Charlie,
They've
the
been
thing
here
that
every time.
disturbs me in this pilot program is, to my knowledge, I never knew of Miller's being on a pilot program, because I can remember them being put on the assessment roll
I
and
don't know.
paying their share.
All I know is what they said.
Well, it's the first I've
But-
ever, I've
but
heard a lot of
regardless-
taxpayers say
Regardless,
they've
my
been on
issue
a
wasn't about a
program.
pilot program. Whether or not there's a pilot program, those commercials will pay property taxes. They may pay less.
Charlie, Site Energies is not paying property taxes.
That's not
a debate. Charlie, finish up and we'll
It's
go on.
not true. They're on a sliding scale like any other pilot program. You start out at one level, and over time, you pick up and pay. Even if they start you at zero the first year, the next year you are paying some property tax, and all pilot programs expire at some point.
And then
Any other public comment, please?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that if you're so pleased with the town of Clay and the Great Northern Mall and all the development that they've done, if my taxes are gonna be what the town of Clay is, you can keep your development.
Your taxes are going to be
Excuse me,
much
Charlie.
more than a town of
Charlie.
Clay.
Be recognized, please. You guys hand up?
Last month, Randy gave you a petition. You said you didn't know what to do with petitions. Did you find out what to do with it? I mean, have you done anything with it?
The petition specifically said, we urge you to break ground immediately on the town park. I cannot honor that kind of petition, very frankly.
Did you tell him that? Because I asked him tonight if he heard anything. He said no, he hadn't heard anything.
No, I have not replied formally.
Get a vote?
Did the fella say how long before the kids will be able to start playing over there?
That will probably be a period of time to get the grass growing, so it'll probably be next year.
Well, what about all the new equipment that's in the back room that's been there for 2 years? I mean, couldn't the kids start playing with those? I mean,
Not very well, no.
it seems like that's going to waste back there when the kids could be out playing ball, or, well, he said sand and stuff like that for volleyball and all that. I mean, a lot of kids play in areas that don't have grass and all that sort of stuff.
Well, you open yourselves up to all kinds of liability if you construct a volleyball court or whatever, and it's not safe, and you really need sand for safety. And just putting up a volleyball court on public land and allowing people to play on it opens yourselves up for a lot of liability. I don't want any part of it.
Well, what about when they go out here and play kickball? Isn't that a liability?
Possibly, yes. But to knowingly allow children to play under unsafe conditions is a great liability. It is, I do not feel if they're playing kickball out here, that to be in and of itself unsafe conditions, and they can do it.
Wouldn't it be safer for them to play over there than it would over here by the highway?
The ground is not mowed, it is in rough shape over there. The ground is very rough shape, and they couldn't very well play over there.
So it's gonna be quite a few years before they're gonna be able to play it all.
I doubt that.
So let's see.
Any other public comment? Yes, Bill.
I just want to try to clear some up if I can. Mr. Smart made about the shopping center down here. On the original plot plan, they had the resolutions, I have a copy of being on the review of it, from the city of Fulton for water and sewage for that 11 stores that they're going to put in. They always had that. The thing what he's talking about is they wanted water for the other 44 acres and any other future development in the area. That water with that big fast forest that went out had nothing to do with Kmart Plaza. And next month when they come in with a new restaurant, they put another new restaurant in on the corner by the red light, and they got water and sewage by that. They're putting in septic and a leach field to handle it. If people are going to do business, they'll find the water and the sewage to do it. But why they keep saying that Kmart, they didn't have enough water for Kmart, they did for 11 original stores. But for outlining partials, they didn't. They felt it was a good opportunity to get it. And people seen through it and it fell through. But this would go to show you they're still doing more development in the area. And if Downey wants water districts, Metropolitan Water Authority next year too, is going to put the second water line through here. Let's work with them. That's where the county's going to get the water from.
I'm not sure what restaurant you're talking about that's being developed.
Pardon?
What restaurant are you referring to that's being
Come to the
developed?
planning board meeting on July 20th, and the plans will be there. They won't tell us for sure what kind of restaurant it is, but it's a standalone restaurant before you get into the shopping center. That's what they want, but you try to get water for in the outlining areas that will bring in more business. Businesses, water is a operation cost of a business. It's figured right into doing the business. That's why a lot of new business come in. Psych was coming in here without the county getting in there.
Yes. Any other public comment? All right, we'll move on to future meetings. There will be a zoning update meeting on July 22 at 7 p.m. Bill signing and agenda preparation, August 10 at 7 p.m. Incidentally, on that same date, August 10, as you have been informed, all polling places in the county will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to vote on the referendum of the county water distribution system. And the regular town board meeting will be held August 12 at 7 p.m. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Before we do, Dave, weren't we going to have a public hearing regarding the amendments before the board meeting on the 12th?
I do not believe that was
I understood that as
not as an action this evening.
I understood that we had to do it this evening so we can get the paperwork, and that was,
No.
yes. You can, let's say we're gonna have the public meeting now, that's what we said we were going to do.
Which is lawyer.
Public meeting?
We're going to have a public hearing on the amendments to the moratorium on Thursday, August 12th, preceding the regular board meeting.
That was the understanding we had when we voted on the issue.
That was it. I understood
Tonight?
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually could do it in a couple weeks, but we can do it tonight.
Yeah, we can, why we do it, we set it, then it's in the press, we've got the time to communicate with all of the other individuals.
Lawyer.
Because all we have is a couple, I believe, just a couple of words that we're gonna have to do, but we need the public hearing, maybe.
We're still in the meeting.
No, it isn't been adjourned, this is, you're just, saying what you're gonna have on the 12th, and there will be a public hearing regarding amendments to the moratorium preceding the regular board meeting on August 12th, is my understanding.
That's my understanding.
I thought everyone understood. Maybe I'm...
Almost.
Am I missing it?
We don't remember.
Well,
Public hearing on amendments.
right, regarding amendments to the moratorium.
Possibly change the CBA.
To town board to CBA, and that one word in there. Development. And Dennis is going to say,
We'll
we're
have a
having
public hearing to consider that.
When do you want to do it?
It's good. At
We'll have
the,
the public hearing before next meeting, but then we have a meeting between the closes.
yeah, we do it prior to the regular board meeting on the 12th.
Or a
We
public
need
hearing?
we need a work session in between after Dennis has, the rough draft to make sure we all agree with the wording, so that we can send it to the planning board and to, county planning.
Yeah, because we need those timelines, right?
When are we next meeting?
Okay, so we'd want to make it, let's see,
Jess, what if we had a few minutes of your agenda on the 22nd? Would that give us time?
yeah.
To do
Wouldn't
what?
it? On Jess's zoning
Just
issue,
To do what?
to meet with
Work
Dennis
over
and
the
work with the
wording,
language, the
make
wording.
sure the wording that Dennis comes up with is something that, we wanted to vote on.
So this is simply going to be zoning, town board zoning, and dropping developer?
That's my understanding.
I don't think we need to rewrite anything. No, all we need to do is just change 2 words if we change anything. I don't think that entails our attorney to sit down with us and go over the whole thing again. I think we just need to,
But I think that...
Well, you might better, Howard, have, look at it instead of just assuming the way he's written it up is the way you want it.
but I thought the only change we're concerned with is town board and zoning board as far as who issues variances and whether or not we want to include developers. To me, it seems very simple.
Well, why can't you look at it at the beginning of the zoning update meeting and make sure that in the meantime, no one has thought of any other editorial changes they want anywhere?
And it's got to go
That's fine.
through county planning, and we've got to go through the whole, we
But,
mess
but,
up the process.
but you
all the
need
stuff
to make
that-
sure you know what you're talking about, and that's why we need to look at it.
As long as we can get it to the county for their next meeting, it says what...
That would be in time.
In other words, basically, we make any minor change, we gotta go through this whole process
That's
all
right,
over again.
right. Even one little word.
Even one lousy little word, yes.
Yeah, so that's what we said we were going to do.
So we just have,
We just need to go back into our regular meeting again for public comment and make a motion to do that.
We don't have to go into, we don't have to do anything into public comment or anything, we're just...
We would have plenty of
Just said
time
public hearing.
to have if we meet on the 22nd, there would be plenty of time to have a public hearing.
On the 12th.
On the 12th, yes.
Okay, so you want to vote on it then and then publicize it?
No, we're saying right now that the public, we can do this under future meetings, the public hearing
But we need to
regarding...
vote on that. We need to vote to have that public hearing, correct?
We could have a special meeting,
Let's have a
zoning update meeting,
Let's-
make
let's-
sure we're all agreed.
Let's talk at the update meeting, then if we need to have a vote, set a special meeting, call for a special meeting, and then set the public hearing on August 12th.
Why don't we make that a special meeting right now?
Let's do it now, then we don't have to mess around with it. Okay, let's,
Yeah, make the zoning update meeting, start with a special meeting to vote on the minutes.
To discuss it?
yeah.
To discuss it and vote on,
Jess, is that okay to preempt your meeting for the first 2 minutes?
Done it for the
Chair.
past 2 months. Really screwed up the update, so don't say 3 months from now, it's my fault that this thing isn't getting done, but
we
let's
promise,
have our
Jeff,
meeting.
we promise.
Okay.
It's not your fault.
It's not Jess's fault, but is that acceptable to you to preempt for a few minutes at the beginning?
Yeah, well,
All right.
you give you 10 minutes and that's it.
Everybody talk fast.
We should be more.
All right,
Well, the attorney's got to draw,
Make that a special meeting.
we got to make sure what it is so that we can send it out to the county to vote.
I will publicly announce a special meeting at 7 p.m. on July 22nd, purpose of which is to discuss a date and need for a public hearing for the revisions to the moratorium ordinance. And to vote on it. Did anybody get that down? Harry, did you get that one?
Does that give you enough time to go to the Sugar County Planning Board? Will that give you enough time?
The attorney
They
said,
usually meet the first Tuesday of the month.
Yeah.
So that's the first Tuesday
That would do
in
it.
August,
We still
right?
would be in the proper time frame.
First Tuesday's August 3rd. We got,
Yeah.
They'll give you enough time to get whatever you need to get to them.
dancing in the street.
Okay.
So they can put it on the agenda for their meeting and discuss it.
Right, because last time our special meeting was on the 23rd, and this meeting will be on the 22nd. And that was enough time to, yeah, there was no problem. So it's a day earlier in the month.
it's a special board meeting. Right now, let's move it out. You need to announce it now. Well, I don't- Yeah, but- All right. As long as that's enough time.
All right, this will be resolution number 93-113, and I will move to have a special meeting of the town board to consider potential changes and to the ordinance regarding the moratorium on towers to be held July 22 at 7 p.m. and to vote upon a public hearing to be held following at the next regular town board meeting on August 12th.
Correct.
I'm not going to try to reword that. We'll get it down.
We know what you're doing.
the intent is correct. Okay, Lawrence, I'll give you this resolution tomorrow. And it's resolution number 93-113. I'll move it. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Lawrence, will you poll the council?
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rhodes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. Now, unless anybody objects, we'll slip this under other new business.
That sounds like a good choice.
Okay, now I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Louder, Claudia.
I so move.
Thank you. We heard you, Jim. Lawrence, poll the council.
Councilman Ridgway.
Aye.
Councilman Rhodes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Smart.
Aye.
Councilman Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor McFarland.
Aye. Thank you.